Welcome back, everybody. On your Do Now today, I want you to teach me what federalism is and how it prevents tyranny. How does it stop the abuse of power? Federalism, remember, is another form of separating power based on levels of government. So here we got a kind of cartoon. If the government was this pyramid, it comes out from the foundation of the Constitution, the foundations of the laws of nature, what make people human. But the most important part is supposed to be the local government, then like the county, then the state, and the federal. The idea of federalism is that each one of these levels has different powers that they're supposed to be using, different things they're supposed to accomplish, right? The federal government, the state government is supposed to control war and money. State government is supposed to control things like driver's licenses. Counties and local might be doing city parks, things like that, right? They each have different powers they're supposed to be taking care of for the person. This is supposed to stop any one of these from becoming too powerful, using that power to abuse people. So, a quick review of kind of separation of power we've been talking about for the past couple days. Um, all levels of government have been separated into what we call the three branches: the legislative branch, which is Congress, where their job is to write laws. We'll talk about this later, but there's two parts to it: the House of Representatives and the Senate. The executive branch, to be the president, as well as the different departments and agencies in the government. Their job is to enforce the laws. Then we have the judicial branch, which is the court system. Their job is to interpret laws and punish people and determine what laws mean. And then we have these branches at all different levels of our government. So we have the federal, which is the national level, the state, and then the local, which is like city and counties. Today we're going to talk about a third system put into the Constitution to try and prevent tyranny. We call this checks and balances. Now, the goal of this is to stop the abuse of power. We don't want someone in power using it the wrong way, taking too much power, hurting the people. So they didn't want to just separate the powers because, that doesn't always work. So they created a system, what we call a check on power. A check is when a branch has a power over another branch, put you in check on their power. Right? So if one of the branches starts doing something they shouldn't, the other two branches can stop them. And this, in theory, balances it out. Each one balances out the other power so that no one is more powerful than the other. Right? It's a system where you kind of put these different branches in competition with each other for power, then no one branch is going to become too powerful. And they use this system on all different levels, the federal, the state, and the local level. I'm going to draw a diagram up on the board if you want to follow along and recreate it in your notes. We'll show some of the checks and balances on different branches. And then we're going to watch a video as a class, so you can pause this video to follow along. So here's our diagram. We got three branches. We got the legislative, executive, and judicial. Now, if the legislative branch creates a law that's not good, the president has the power to veto it, meaning they can stop it. A law doesn't actually go into effect until the president okays it. So the president has a lot of power to stop Congress. But if Congress doesn't like what the president's doing, they can override them if they have 2/3 of the people approving it. Congress also has to approve any presidential appointments. When he gives out jobs to different people, Congress gets to approve it. The Senate also gets to approve any judges. So the president gets to nominate who the judges are, Congress gets to approve them. The Supreme Court, which is in the judicial branch, has a lot of power. They can rule actions of the president or actions of Congress to be unconstitutional as a way of stopping them from having that action. So the judicial branch seems to have a lot of power, but if you notice, they can't create any power. They have to wait for it to come to them. We're going to answer a few questions on the Pear Deck. So if you want to log in, first I want you to summarize, what do checks and balances do? Next, we have this political cartoon. Does this author believe that separation of powers has stopped tyranny? Why or why not? So you're going to have to look at some of the characters in this cartoon. We got this guy. His name is Uncle Sam. Remember, he represents the United States. This is a caricature of Donald Trump. So Donald Trump is doing something in this cartoon. Is this author praising or criticizing that action? And does it support the separation of power or believe that it has failed? Our next cartoon is about checks and balances. It says our system of checks and balances, and it's showing a very wealthy person writing a check, a donation to a politician. Does this make our checks and balances system look good or bad? For our activity today, you're going to read a list of bullet points of some of the powers the different branches have. Then you're going to play out different scenarios. If you were the president and you wanted to do something, if you were Congress and you wanted to do something, how would you do it, and how would you check other branches' power? When you're finished, you have time to finish up any of the assignments we've been working on this week.